Now that we have been raiding an Asylum Sanctorium for a while, now here's just a quick guide on how we actually do it. I obviously also stream it a lot, so you can also watch me live doing this. But most important is the positioning, as you can see with this sheet here. So each damage dealer has a direction he can run to when the shock fields from the main boss start raining down. Tanks have positions, the healers have positions, and everybody has their thing to do. You can also find this picture and the guide in general on my website. I will put the link in the description. So now the first thing, the healers. So why are the healers on the left and right side? They have to catch the dual wield jump. So when the dual wield mini boss jumps, he places a red AoE field on the ground which applies a main, so you do less damage. So the healers need to catch those. Healer 1 also is responsible for actually healing the group and tanks and so on. The healer 2 has a very special duty, more like an annoying one, because the alms also drops 2 shock fields. One will probably go on the tank and the second one on the healer behind, the main tank, the T1. And the healer has to try to place them as close to the wall as possible, so you still kind of have a lot of movement, because if you place it somewhere in between the main tank and the healer, it will cover a lot of area which is needed for movement, and you do not want to do that. For the off tank, he needs to make sure to bring the dual wield boss and the poison boss as close to the main boss as possible, because you want to damage the main boss as much as possible. And while damaging the main boss with AoE, single target and so on, the mini bosses should also get hit by the AoE damage that actually hits the main boss. And keep in mind that the mini boss is enrage. So when you actually get close to the end range timer, if the mini bosses will not die before the end range, people have to single target them. Once they're single target, they will die very, very quickly. So for example, you see like the dual wield mini boss has like 30 seconds left till he enrages and still 50% health. Then you want to make sure to focus him, to drop him as fast into the execute as possible. However, only focus the dual wield boss when he's next to the main boss or close to it, because when he jumps around you will lose too much DPS, so you kind of need to calculate that in, that when he jumps around, then DPS the main boss or the poison boss. When he comes back somewhere to the middle, you want to focus the dual wield mini boss again. Also don't forget, when spheres spawn, immediately focus them, because when the spheres is up you cannot damage the main boss. That's the thing. And like always, for the damage dealers, most important is that they stay in their positions. That's the most important things. And obviously the poison boss, make sure to block his cone. The biggest reason why actually people wipe in here is because the poison boss shoots the AoE cone over half the area. It's RNG, so you cannot really decide where it goes. And then people don't block and they insta die because it's a one shot. I do recommend having 2 interrupters, one on the entrance side and one on the exit. So because the poison mini boss sometimes holds his stuff up in the air and then shoots poison bubbles at all players. And if you get hit by 2 or 3 channels, you basically die unless you dodge roll it. So it's very important that you have to interrupt this as fast as possible. You could technically do it with one interrupter if he really knows what he's doing, but with 2 people it's definitely safer. I also can recommend really having either a Magica Templar or just any DD where Kagrenak, because a lot of people will die and Kagrenak set increases the resurrection speed. So it's very helpful here. Once you actually reach 25% boss health, I do recommend keep rolling as you did before. Now the fire AoE will also come. Make sure not to stand too close to the middle where the explosion starts going off, because you will get more damage there. If you cannot get completely out, it doesn't matter, just block, shield up. I don't think you actually can block it, but you can shield it. If you keep walking around in the fire AoE, I think you will get extra damage. So if you see you can't get out in time, just stand still and shield. After that you will have a damage over time fire effect on you. So either keep shielding or purge it. This trial is very RNG based, especially with the poison boss, and just you have to repeatedly kill the minis. It's very annoying. But yeah, with enough practice and the positioning, you will be able to do it. I also recommend having as much night blades, magical night blades as possible, because of funnel health, you heal a lot with that. You need some sort of self heal here, because the healers are very busy with other stuff. Also, the interrupter, I recommend him being a Zork, because he can use Asylum stuff, he can provide liquid lightning synergy for the main tank, and just with the Asylum stuff you can apply concussion and like maim and all that stuff on the minis. One last thing, now that Bloodthirsty is available, we have been experimenting around with it, and it really helps here. Like in the execute, it's the most difficult phase, and you really want to get over with it as fast as possible. So we currently either run 2 or 3 Bloodthirsty. In the end, you need to know whether you want to run Arcane or Bloodthirsty, but it really seems that Bloodthirsty, especially in the execute, seems to help so much, because the phase will get so much shorter. Another thing, when you reach execute, if a mini boss is down on the ground, just ignore that dude. Tank can take care of him, but don't damage him anymore, and focus on the other mini boss. Kill that one as well, so his timer resets, and then just try to burn down the main boss as fast as possible. Obviously this will only work if not a lot of people die. I have the full run that I used here as an example also on my YouTube. I will also put the link in the description, and you also can find this on my website. That's more or less it. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the juicy like button, and have a nice day. Cheers.